All right, hi everyone. I hope you're having a good week and that things are going well for you. I'm going to show you how to finish the second part of um, the second level for the FPS micro game. So the first level, again, what we did in class is we did these first four. So to turn this in, and you can always resize these windows a little bit. What you would do is you would just take a screenshot of these four elements just to say that you have completed the tutorial. So this was meant as a review as we get started with Unity and reviewing some of the things you're going to see in Unity. Now, to find the second level, what you'll do is you'll go into this FPS folder right here. You're going to see, again, most of the things you're going to use in this level are going to be in this prefabs folder right here. And then you can see, like, here's the pickups, there's projectiles, there's different level elements and rooms and things like that. But the one that you want to go to if you're in this FPS folder is scenes. And then here you're going to see it says the secondary scene. And so it'll look something like this. All right. Now, the first thing I would do is I would just play the level. So when you hit play, it may take a second to start, but you'll see here, there it is. Okay, you just want to make sure everything works. When you run into that weapon, it changes, and you can use the mouse wheel to scroll between. Okay, and you also have um, it's lagging a little bit, but you have this weapon where you can hold it, and then, excuse me. Well, there you go. Okay. So that is how you would play, and you just want to try the level again. It's different from the first one. It's a little more difficult. There's a little more terrain, or things to traverse. However, once you've played it, what you're going to do is add some of those elements that are on canvas to the level. So if I'm looking at this level right here, again, this is my level. This is where I start right there. And if you need to zoom in on something, you can always just double click it like this, or you can also hit F on the keyboard and then you can see it. So I'm going to add some things here. So first thing is I'm going to go to the prefabs folder and I'm going to add, you can add different weapons if you want. I'm going to add the jetpack like this. And again, it's just click and drag. I also have the pickup right here. So I'm going to add some health to the level like this. And wherever you place it, it's going to be there. Um, so one of the things too is you want to make sure that you hit the pickup right here. And then I'm going to add this as well and just see what happens. Now, if something isn't working, that's okay too. I know some students, when they added some of these items, they didn't quite load in, or they, you just want to practice adding these things in here, because that's a big part of level design. So when you're working with like a game studio, there will be people that do like the coding of all of these assets. And if I double click something, I'll just show you. So this is what's called prefab mode, and this is basically all of the stuff associated with the assets. So here is the art, and then you'll see on the side here in the inspector that it has a script attached to it. All right, and so you can see all of this stuff here. If you want to look at the script, it's in the script folder. Okay, and to get out of this mode, you'll see this arrow like this. You just hit backspace. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is add the level. So I'm just going to add a couple of sections like this. So I might add this right here. And again, you can add as we want 5 things, so you don't want to really go off of the map if you don't have to, but I'll add a couple of these right here. So maybe, again, I'm just kind of practicing at this point. I might add like a ramp, something like that. And if you want to see it right there, if you hold the right mouse button, you can hit AWSD, kind of like you're playing Minecraft. And then I can just position it maybe like a little bit better so it's not clipping through like this. So it takes a little bit of trial and error, but that is how you would add all of these objects to the scene. what's really important as well is like once you add the objects, I'm always going to hit save to make sure, just in case the computer crashes or something. And then I want to go in and test it to see how much is working or how much isn't working, which can be the case sometimes. So if I'm loading into my level, here I go. Okay, now I'm just gonna, again, my goal is to test, so I may not be as concerned with the enemies right here. You can zoom, so don't forget that. Okay, don't judge my gameplay. I'm gonna blame it on lag, but you know. Okay, so there it is. You can see that there's a pickup right here. So I want to see it doesn't work because I have full health. So let me just see. I'll let him hit me a couple times. All right. And I have this one enemy left. Now, when I go to the pickup, you can see now I have this other weapon. And I also, when I go to this pickup, I have the jetpack. All right. So there is some fall damage, but you can see all of the stuff that I added is here and it works. So now I am ready to go and fight the boss or jump off the ledge. um, so again, all of those things work. They were all placed correctly. And that's what you really want to test for. So once you finish with adding the objects, what you can do is you can go in and you can take the screenshots or you can use the snipping tool to take a video of you playing the game, just to get to the end and seeing like everything that works. So that's again the whole this basic project. You do want to make this like pretty challenging, I would say. So it doesn't need to be perfect. Like you can make it as difficult as you want or as frustrating as you want, but from a gameplay perspective, some things to consider because you're adding all of this stuff. Is this fun? Is it challenging? If it's too challenging, like if I put this boss here and I'll go back to the prefabs and enemies. Like a pretty reasonable amount is to add a couple of these enemies like this. But if I'm adding like 5 of these, it may be too frustrating for your player. So that's kind of up to you how you want to do that. Um, but part of play testing is not just making sure that whatever you've added works and that the design is like functioning, but also how fun is it for the player? If they're getting frustrated, what kind of things frustrate them? You don't always have to adjust them. Like in my case, if I'm bad at these games, then everything is going to frustrate me. But it's still a good idea to go in and kind of consider if you're noticing the same patterns when people play it, then maybe it's time to make a change. Okay, so I hope you had fun designing the second level. Again, if you're having any issues with the game, like if it's not loading, if it's crashing, or if something isn't working, and don't worry too much, like that does happen occasionally depending how the project loaded from your computer. But the goal of this is to get practice with some level design, thinking about where elements go in, and what would be fun for the player. So if you have any questions, just let me know. But I hope you have a good rest of the week and that you had fun making this project. All right, have a good day.